Hello, everyone. Welcome to Chew on Sports. This is Zachary Van Meter.
And this is Chris Temple.
Welcome
to Chew on Sports.
Yes, we are here. We're ready to dominate. We got a lot of cool stuff to talk about. On today's episode, we're going to do a little farewell to Dirk. I am a huge Mavericks fan, like we discussed numerous times.
41,
yes.
21, 1.
Yes, and I've got all the feels. I'm still emotional. If you follow me on Twitter, I'm sorry that I've berated you with 7,000 Dirk tweets.
Do not apologize for that. The world needed to know.
Yes, they did. Also, we've got our mock draft 2.0. We did extend it to 20 picks, so I'm excited to bring that to you. We have a little breaking news in basketball to break down, and we both have our NHL brackets for the Stanley Cup Playoffs done, so we'll cover who we think is going to be the last team standing each.
There can only be one.
Yes, there can only be one. Now, before we do get to that, though, NBA is not quite done. Some of the seeding is not decided as of yet. For instance, Detroit has a play-in game tonight. Yep. Charlotte could take the 8th spot. Griffin's not playing, so the Knicks could beat them. You have 7th and 8th, and the West could swap. So, unfortunately, until tomorrow,
we won't know.
We won't have any idea whatsoever until who each other's playing. So, Chris and I will tweet our brackets tomorrow. So it's locked in, so it's not like we're making a decision off of what's going on the first two games. And then on next week's, we will break down the NBA bracket. So good for time, because that would have taken 15 or 20 minutes probably to break down, so we can talk more draft and everything else with you. But bad for prediction aspects. I still think that Golden State's going to win everything. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler, I agree too. I filled out a fake bracket this afternoon because I didn't know if Zach over here knew that there was a play-in game or not. I didn't know if he knew about it. So I filled out a bracket, and I have Golden State winning it all again.
Right on. So before we get started, as always, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate anyone who decided to go and leave an update. We had not an update, excuse me. We actually had a review from T Loves the Z. That's such a creative. Now I wonder who that is. Says that it's my favorite podcast, and he's got a sexy voice, too. So, apparently, somebody named T Loves Z thinks you sound really sexy. So, that's pretty cool, man.
Zach, I just want to let you know, I looked at it, and it's your wife.
Oh, nice. So, so yes, we got one review, so boom shakalaka. I appreciate the love, appreciate the listens. And we're just going to keep growing this thing, and it's fun. We're having a blast every time we do it. As always, Twitter is the best place to follow us if you want to see what we talk about outside of this podcast. I'm at Chew on Sports.
And I'm at CTemp03.
And then I'm on Instagram at TechmoZach. And then other than that, Chris Temple's pretty just Twitter-ish.
Pretty boring. Unless it's Twitter, I'm not on it.
So, good stuff. So, first off, before everything starts rolling, how's Game of Thrones-a-thon coming? Are you gonna make it to the finish line before Sunday night?
I think we have 11 episodes left to get through, so I think we'll get it done. The wife is getting a little tired of it. She's tired of all the people dying. All of the people she likes, quote unquote, keep dying. So we'll make it. She's ready for it to be over with, though. I think
the last 11 episodes are pretty good, so it flows really, really well. So that's the good news. So you should be able to get that down. So that's cool, man. I was a naysayer, so I'm kind of excited that I was wrong, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, we had last weekend to kind of, get through 10 or 15 episodes, so we kind of got lucky that things didn't get too busy on us.
Rock and roll, man. Awesome. So, first, just to get it out of the way, because we don't want to talk Mavericks for 4 hours, and trust you, me, I can do it. What a special night last night, man. Dirk's my dude. I've watched Dirk. I've watched more basketball than anything because there's 82 games of it, right? And I started watching Jason Kidd's rookie year, watched the building of the 3Js, watched the takedown of the 3Js, watched the draft where we traded Dirk, the tractor trailer trade. And I was 16. 16 years old, dude, whenever we got Dirk. And it's crazy, too. I put it together last night, just tidbits before we go with your Dirk memory. It's funny how much the NBA lockouts relate to Dirk. Dirk was drafted the year of the NBA lockout in '98.
Yes.
And we won a championship, and the next season was a lockout. it's kind of it's kind of a weird in the stars type thing how that kind of happened. But it's funny for those of you who don't know, Dirk announced officially live after the game that it is his last season, his last home game. He will play in San Antonio a few minutes tonight, but the career's done. Honestly, they say that no one's gonna do 20 years with the franchise again. I don't know that it might. If I'm a Dallas Maverick and I'm at the game last night and I see the way the fans and saw this fanfare and what Cuban did and Rick Carlisle for Dirk, I don't ever want to leave. I'm not going to go test free agent waters. I'm going to stay.
Well, I don't want to leave the Mavs organization because they set the standard.
Well, think about it. Is LeBron going to get that?
No.
LeBron will get the Hall of Fame speech. LeBron will be arguably one of the top 5 players ever. But will he get what Dirk had?
No.
Well, anybody.
Kobe got it.
Kobe did.
Kobe got it.
Who else? No one.
Yeah.
Because they've all bounced around.
I mean,
Westbrook.
You got to think the Spurs. Manu, Paul, or not Manu,
but none of them. Like Tim Duncan retired after. Like he didn't announce he was retiring. He just decided on the offseason, I'm not coming back.
He played what, 18 years, 16, 17?
It was 19.
19, yeah.
And then Kobe was 20, and Reggie Miller was 18.
Yeah.
So, God, man, 21 seasons for Dirk. Like I said, I was 16 years old, and what's crazy is last night, which really I man cried so hard so many times last night. It was disgusting. Like, who am I, man? Am I watching P.S. I Love You again? What's going on here? But
you got notebooks by the Mavs.
Yeah, but it's funny because the story I'll share is that I've always, I was at the flu game, and that was one of the coolest moments of sports for me, right? And I think that's an easy one to say. Like, that's my Dirk moment. Not knowing why he was missed his first 12 shots, realizing at halftime the man had the flu and came back and brought them to win during the finals. But for me, the quintessential, it's funny that Charles Barkley was there because I actually told this story at work yesterday. We were talking Dirk, getting sappy, me and a coworker, and we were talking about, I was talking about Charles Barkley. And I was like, you know what my favorite Dirk moment is? And it really wasn't even a Dirk moment per se, but it was just such a great Mavs moment with Dirk. And it was early 2000s, forgive me for not knowing the year, but it's when we were back in the playoffs for the first time since the 80s.
Oh, when we played
we were playing the Utah Jazz.
Beat them in 5.
It was game 5. At halftime, we were down by 20. Charles Barkley was at TNT, still is obviously, but TNT, and he went on a tirade during halftime. He's like, man, it's terrible. It's a bunch of BS that the refs are allowing this to happen. Like, I literally, in the first half, dude, I watched John Stockton grab Steve Nash and pull him into him, and they called a foul on Steve Nash. Like, it was crazy. We were getting just bullied in fouls. I think Utah was in the penalty in the second quarter within the first, 3 minutes. It was just crazy. And Charles, it's crazy that a playoff game is going to be decided because of refs. He's like, it's terrible. He's like, the Mavs were the team I thought were going to win, even though they didn't home field. This is my upset pick, and it's terrible. I don't think they can go past this. I don't think they're as good as San Antonio, who they ended up losing to. But long story short, Charles Barkley goes on this tirade, and that's really when I started to kind of just be like, man, I love TNT. Charles Barkley's my dude, and they're kind of my go-to for my basketball stuff. But the Mavs came back after halftime, down by 20, and won the game. It took a Calvin Booth miracle shot, but they won. They did it, and that was kind of the moment when the Mavs became what they eventually became, champions and one of the better teams in the league forever. What is it, 11 straight seasons with 50 wins?
Yeah.
They did all of these amazing things, and it was all kind of birthed that evening. And it's funny because I always related Charles Barkley to that, and I always think about it. And Charles Barkley was the first one to speak about Dirk last night. It was just really special for me because it just I always bring those two situations, kind of the birth of the Mavs and being one of the more dominant teams, and that moment. It's just it gives me goosebumps just thinking about it, man. Because I've watched so many games, I've played so many NBA 2K, NBA Live as the Mavs. They're my team. They always have been, always will be. And it's crazy to think that since 16 I've had a constant. And it's done now. Like when I pick up NBA 2K20 next year, there's no Dirk on the roster. Unless I play a legend team. or unlock him, or he has a My Team card.
I mean,
You know?
yeah. I mean, you talk about you were 16. I was 13 when Dirk got drafted out to the Mavs.
God.
You know, so he's been on the Mavs.
We were my kids' age.
Yes.
My kids are 16 and 13.
Yeah.
We were the age of my kids right now when Dirk played his first game. Yeah, that's wild.
Which is crazy. I mean, yeah. I mean, I hadn't even made it to high school yet.
Insane, man. And he played for that long. And he put up 30 last night.
He's old enough to drink in basketball years.
Yes. In fact of drinking, he had a beer before his press conference with Larry Bird and the guys. How cool is that? How special is it that people you idolize as a kid, right? Dirk's 3 years older than me. So we have kind of the same childhood idols in basketball, right? That we grew up watching, Sean Kemp, Larry Bird, and all them. And how cool is it that people think about it. When I was 14, that'd be like my idol when I'm 14 years old. Respecting me now. Like, that's not a thing, man.
No.
Like, how special is that they were there, they recognized him. It's just such a legend, and I don't think Dirk's going to listen to this podcast. Maybe he will, but thank you, Dirk. It's been an absolute awesome experience to watch you for 21 years and to have a relevant franchise. You look at Chicago. Michael Jordan turned them into such a beast, but they've had maybe 4 relevant seasons since Jordan, right?
And he retired from the Bulls in '96.
Yeah,
or that was their last championship. Was '96.
Right. And I mean, you had the year that the Bulls were really, really good, and they lost to Miami when Derrick Rose had an MVP season. Then you had the year with Ben Wallace where they were pretty good and they got bounced. But I think there's been a handful of seasons where they've been okay, and you get spoiled. And the crazy thing is at least I think, maybe it's homerism, but I think the Mavs are set up to be in a better position next season than they've been in a long, long time.
Well, you've got to look at it from this perspective. Are the Mavs better now than what they were when they drafted Dirk?
Oh, yes. Hands down.
So Dirk did what he always sought out to do. He wanted to leave the Mavs better than what they were when he got there.
It's crazy. I can't wait to see the statue. It's going to be awesome.
They said it's going to be the best one ever.
Yeah, that's one of the cooler pictures I've done, by the way. I went to Chicago, and it was the off-season, but I went and saw the Jordan statue. Always wanted to check it out. And I did the Dirk one-legged fade in front of the Jordan statue and had my wife take a picture.
That's pretty cool.
Because I'm a dork like that. So, yes, once again, that's the end of the Dirk love, but it's been a special ride. It's crazy that it's over, and I'm excited to see where his role is, and I'm curious, scared. It's weird to think of the Mavs without him, but I think we're going to be all right because we've got Mr. Triple-Double, the Wonder Boy, on our squad right now.
Yeah, I mean, he got another triple-double last night. Luka Doncic.
He is a machine.
El Matador.
So up next, we're going to talk a little Madden real quick, and then we're going to talk some football. So I put on Twitter today that who would you rather have on the cover of Madden? Patrick Mahomes or Todd Gurley or other?
I voted on this.
Obviously, Mahomes is a video game in himself, you know? Can sling it. Todd Gurley is a machine. Now, the reason why I used Todd Gurley is the two guys to choose from is that 2 years ago, it was a rumor that Antonio Brown might be on the cover, and it ended up being Brady. So, and Antonio Brown did a lot of commercials for them and everything else. Well, Todd Gurley did that last year, so I just have a weird feeling it's going to kind of grandfather to Gurley. I do think Gurley's going to be the guy. That's my thought. Would I be mad if it was Mahomes? No, not at all. But I think it's going to be Gurley. I do. And which one did you choose?
I chose Holmes.
You chose Mahomes, and then 2 people chose other, but they didn't comment what it is. So I'm just assuming that they think other is a player in the NFL.
I'm gonna assume somebody for the Cowboys because of where we live.
You never know, but like I said, that'll be cool. Generally, you find out right after the draft, like maybe about 2 weeks, first week in May, and they start doing all those things. I know last year I got a beta code to play test the game because of what we do with a podcast. So that would be sweet if we had to test out Madden 20, if that's a thing. So we'll see. We'll see how that rolls. We'll see how that rolls. But anywho, I'm always excited to see the cover and what they added to it and everything else. And the vote's there. So if you are on Twitter, feel free to go to Chew on Sports and Poll, let's see who it is. I think there's like 20-something votes right now. I've got the poll rolling for 2 more days. So I'll probably share it and hashtag it to move it up the list here in the next, after this podcast is over. So if anybody wants to go on and check it out. Now, also, NBA-wise, we haven't done our bracket yet. Crazy stories. Obviously, the Mavs are trying to tank. They're on the road. It's a back-to-back. Luka's not playing tonight. Dirk will probably play a couple of minutes tonight. We'll see how the lottery balls bounce. We'll have mock drafts like we do for the NFL coming for you for the NBA as soon as we find out where teams are drafting from, which is May 14th.
Yeah, I mean,
so we honestly have no clue right now who's drafting where. So
the week after the finals, they let you know.
Right. So we'll have that information for you. If you're a Celtic fan, Marcus Smart looks like he's going to miss with a torn oblique the next 2 weeks. Or not 2 weeks, 2 series. Yeah. He won't even be ready to play in the second series. That's assuming they make it past Indiana. If you remember, one of the rare things that we said was locked in was Celtics and Indiana on our last podcast.
Yep.
So it looks like those two are going to meet. And without Marcus Smart, that's interesting. I think... You apparently disagree with me. I still think Celtics could win.
In my little mock draft that I've already mocked up right now, I think Indiana's the better team.
But I don't know if they can beat who they play in the second round without Marcus Smart. That he's such a viable, just depth defender, everything they got. Oh, yeah. So we'll be getting into that next week, obviously. Boys. Yes, we'll be getting into that next week for sure. And so that's not good. I know the Pistons have a play-in game tonight, and you have no Blake Griffin, your best player. So I don't know if they're going to... I think Charlotte might sneak in.
I would love to see Charlotte sneak in, but, I mean, the Pistons are playing the Knicks. The Knicks are the worst team in basketball. If you can't beat them without Blake Griffin, you don't deserve to go. So, the writing's on the wall for you. Either play up to your standards and beat the inferior team, or stay at home. It's up to you.
Speaking of going home, Magic Johnson quit last night.
Like a punk.
How are you... If you're a Laker fan... How are you feeling right now?
I'm happy.
You're glad he's gone if you're a Laker fan?
I'm glad he's gone. He did a horrible job. I mean, they won 9... They improved by 9 games the first 2 years he was there, and then this year, they were doing well until LeBron got hurt. I think they're the 3rd or 4th seed.
They were. They were 5th.
And then LeBron got hurt, and he's been hurt all year. But the whole trade thing with Anthony Davis destroyed that team. And it destroyed the Pelicans. Because the Pelicans were somewhat relevant at that time, too. Both of those teams their players decided they didn't want to play for those franchises anymore because everybody was talking about being traded.
I like Anthony Davis, but I don't love him. He's awesome. Like, if I'm a fantasy basketball player, minus the injuries, he's a guy that I want on my team because he's a statistical anomaly. But he doesn't really, move the needle. I mean, they've not been in the playoffs every year. They're not.
I don't think that's his fault. I mean, he can't change the game like other people. I mean, he's mainly a low post president. He can pop in and come out.
What would be the best fit for him then? The Celtics?
For him, yeah.
But only if they have Kyrie.
I mean, anybody would want to play with Kyrie.
I mean, if the Celtics trade for him, they have to get rid of Tatum and Jaylen Brown. And then Kyrie goes to Brooklyn or New York or wherever. Is that team good?
No.
Or are they the Pelicans of the East?
I mean, if you lose all your star players, then no, you're not good. I mean, but if you get Anthony Davis to go to Boston, I think Kyrie would stay.
I think Magic. Here's my thing with Magic, man. I think Magic realizes that it's not as you have a window. And what I mean by a window is when free agency opens, you literally, that is your recruiting. That is you trying to recruit and everything else. I think Magic thought that I'm a legend. I'm a Laker legend. And I'm the president of basketball operations for the Lakers. I'm going to be able to go tutor Ben Simmons. Work with Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons will be like, man, when my rookie deal's up, I'm coming here. Right? Oh, man. We're going to do a deal with him because you're a legend. He wants to give me 5 players. Yes, I'll send you Anthony Davis. Or Kawhi Leonard, Paul George. You name the star. It's almost like he had to be fighting off stars with a stick. And LeBron was a very easy sell because he's at a point of his career where it is the fourth quarter. It's the very end.
No, he's my age. He's 34 years old.
And he wants to do movies. He wants to do things. So being very close... It has more to do with that probably than it does as far as him being with, you know what I mean? Him being with Magic per se, or being a Laker, right?
I think it was also about his kids too for LeBron, about which basketball team his kids were going to play on in high school and all that stuff, because their AAU stuff's coming to an end.
Right.
So Bronny, his oldest son, is about to be in high school.
Are the Lakers going to sign anybody this offseason now?
They might trade LeBron.
That would be. I don't see it happening.
They don't have anybody wants. They don't have the cap space. They have the cap space to sign one max.
I think two. I personally think they're going to make a run at DeMarcus Cousins, and I think they're going to make a run at. I think Kyrie will talk to them. I don't know if that means that he'll sign there, but I think Kyrie will talk.
I think Kyrie's going to the Knicks with
Durant.
Yeah, with Durant. I think KD I think that'd be a good team, because I think the Knicks are also going to get the first pick, and I think they'll take Zion.
See what happens, man. Magic made the comment that he was going to quit. He said, "I'm going to quit if I don't get the players that I say that I'm going to bring in here," and he did quit. I think he realizes that it wasn't going to happen this summer either, and I don't know. We'll see. I'm intrigued. It's something to pay attention to, and I'm really next. For talking about NBA free agency, talking about the draft and the building of these teams here during the summer, I'm really pumped for it because it's going to be such a wide open canvas, I predict. Now, obviously, I don't know what's going to happen right now. Can the Golden State re-sign Durant and Klay Thompson? Sure. Could that happen? Yeah. Do I think it's going to happen? No.
I don't think.
I think the entire NBA is going to be wide open next season.
Oh, I wish the NBA would stop being super friends.
Well, that's what's going to happen. I mean, even if Kevin Durant and Kyrie say, "Hey, let's go to New York together," does that make them the best team in the league? It makes them a darn good team.
Yeah, it makes them a good team, but then you still got to think you still got Golden State that will re-sign Klay Thompson.
Of course, if that happens.
And then so they'll still have their big three that they drafted.
And then you've got Houston, and then you've got it just restores balance back to the force.
I think that's what the NBA has been missing since LeBron and the Super Friends went down to Miami. I think you get that balance back across the NBA. I mean, if you look at the records this year for all the teams going into the playoffs, they were fairly similar to the back four teams.
Absolutely, and in the NBA too, it's become more about branding. Yes. If that makes sense, like your own brand, than it has been winning. And I'm not saying these players don't want to win. They absolutely do. You see them grind out there and push and bust their butts. But it's hard if you're Kevin Durant to have a winning brand if you're on the Warriors. Because you can get shoe sales. You can be marketable. But having a legacy and having wouldn't you like to go to the Wizards or to a team that's not good and bring them a championship and be like, hey.
Speaking of the Wizards, that's where Kevin Durant's from.
I know. That's why I mentioned their name.
Did you hear about John Wall?
No.
John Wall said he probably won't be playing next year.
That's right. More than likely he won't be available to play until like May or March, and then they're playing tank mode by then, so they wouldn't want him to play because the NBA tank mode is disgusting.
I mean, I'd want him to play the last couple games of the year just to get some rust off.
I would too, but they probably won't.
I mean, I don't blame him for that, but I would if I'm the owner. I'm telling my coach, you're playing John Wall the last month of the season if he's ready. That way, going into next year, nobody's worried about John Wall coming back and missing an entire year. He missed almost an entire year. He still came back and played a little bit.
He's a beast, man. Hopefully, he can get healthy for sure. But it's intriguing to me to see. We will hopefully we have some hoop heads that follow because we're gonna have a lot of NBA, a lot of fantasy football, and a lot of NBA to talk about during the summertime.
Just think, next week. For today, there's only 2 weeks till the NFL draft.
Right, I know, man. It's gonna be awesome. And then once we have the balance of everything, we kind of know what we're looking at. Once the draft happens, going into the preseason what kind of team, what kind of vision these people have, what they're trying to put together winning wise. And then obviously it's got to materialize in the preseason. You got to be healthy and everything else. But I'm really pumped to see that. So summer's going to be a lot of talk about what we think's going to happen in football and the building of basketball too. Man, it's going to be a good thing.
Yeah,
it's going to be a real good thing. So, as promised, NHL is tonight. There's actually NHL playoff games going on right now.
This is for you, JT.
Let's see. I need to check this out right now. What is happening in the world of the NHL on live time right now? The Lightning are up 2-0. That's what's going on right now. The Jets and Blues are going to start in 20 minutes, and then our Dallas Stars play later tonight. So, boom goes that dynamite. But yeah, Lightning. Lightning are Vegas' overall favorites, by the way, to win everything.
The Vegas Knights?
Yeah, no, the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Yeah, I mean, they should be. They ran away with the Conn Smythe Trophy.
So, on to the brackets. So, let's do this first. Let's start with the West. Okay? The team I have making it, and I promise you this isn't me being a homer. This is me going off of actual data. We're going to go in reverse a little bit. The team I have representing the West in the Stanley Cup Finals is the Dallas Stars. Who do you have?
I have the Winnipeg Jets.
Okay, I like the Jets a lot. They were my team that I had in the finals last year, actually. I had the Winnipeg Jets versus the Pittsburgh Penguins was what I thought it was going to turn out being last year.
And then it was a magical run for Vegas.
And it was a magical run for Vegas and for the Capitals too, honestly.
Oh, we finally got his.
So, before everyone calls me a homer and says I don't know what I'm talking about, there's a reason why I have the Dallas Stars. So, let's start. We'll come to their series next. I'm going to go in order on the way they're on the West so that we can just break them down. Calgary plays Colorado, and I have Calgary winning that series.
I have Calgary winning as well. I mean, it just seems like an easy matchup. Colorado's a good team, but Calgary's a better class.
I think it's going to be 5 games, too. I think it's going to be a short series.
I picked 6.
Okay. Very cool. Next, we've got Vegas against the San Jose Sharks. Who you got?
I got the Vegas Golden Knights going on.
I have San Jose.
I have Vegas in 5. I just think Vegas... I think Vegas is too good to lose in the first round.
I think the magic's gone. I think that the best thing Vegas is going to do in the playoffs is their little pregame routine that they do again this year.
Those are
last
fun.
Year. Those are really cool. I actually have San Jose in the Western Conference Finals against Dallas.
I don't think you know what you're talking about.
I think I do. We've got Nashville versus Dallas. Who do you have in this series?
I have Dallas winning it.
I have Dallas as well.
I think Nashville's probably the toughest team Dallas will play.
Okay.
And I know I didn't pick them to win it, but I think Nashville's the best team in that whole division right there. But I think Winnipeg is still capable of beating Nashville to go through.
I actually have this going to 7 games, is what I think.
I had it in 6.
Okay. That's. I will hope that you're right. So, the Dallas Stars, I'm doing research to support my theory of them being in the Western Conference Finals, right? And I'm not picking it because it's homerism, because I didn't do a second bracket, just to let you know. If I feel firmly about my Cowboys or whatever else, I normally do a second bracket if I'm like, man, dude, I'm kind of being a homer here. I'm picking them why. So I went back and looked at this calendar year. Okay, so since January 1, which has been the majority of the hockey season, they start at the beginning of October. So 2 months of hockey versus this 4. The Dallas Stars have only lost 9 road games this calendar year. Only 9. And one of those losses was when they had to play 4 games in a row on the road. It was the 4th game. So take that away, that's 8. That's 2 losses a month. They're battle-tested and the best road team in the NHL, in my opinion. And I think they have one of the hottest goalies, too. So I put these equations together, and obviously they're going to have to be battle-tested in order to make it, right? Like, this is going to be having to win every series on the road if they were to make it to the Stanley Cup Finals, because unless it's Vegas, right? Is it St. Louis? Who is it?
It's Colorado.
It would be Colorado would be the only team they could have home field against, or home ice, excuse me. So I have Dallas beating Nashville. Up next is Winnipeg versus the Blues. I'm assuming you have Winnipeg since they're in your finals.
Yes, I do.
Call me crazy. I also have Winnipeg winning as well.
I have that in 4.
Nice. I have it in 5. So very cool.
I think it's a sweep.
Up next, with the way my bracket works, I have Calgary versus the San Jose Sharks. You have
Calgary versus the Vegas Golden Knights.
I have the San Jose Sharks winning.
I have the Vegas Golden Knights winning.
So we both have Calgary getting knocked off at that point.
We do.
Okay. Next round, we both have Dallas versus Winnipeg. Correct?
And this is where we faltered.
And we flip-flop on this as well. I have the Stars winning.
I've got Winnipeg winning.
All right. Game on. I'm interested to see what happens.
Now, I hope your bracket is right.
Well, my bracket is going to be right. There's
will.
no doubt.
I'll bet you a Snickers on it that you're wrong.
And then in the Western Conference Championship, I have San Jose versus Dallas with Dallas advancing. And you have, is it Vegas versus?
Winnipeg.
Vegas versus Winnipeg, a rematch.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So that's the West shaken up. So let's go on to the East. So let's see. Let me pull it up right now. Let's see if this Tampa Bay. I'm really worried about my Tampa Bay prediction. I'm just kidding. You've got Tampa Bay versus the Blue Jackets. I'm assuming both of us have Tampa Bay winning.
Yeah, Columbus is inferior in every way.
Yeah. This is where I get kind of saucy. Boston versus Toronto. I have Toronto winning. And I have Toronto winning in 6 games. The Maple Leafs.
I have Toronto winning in 6 games as well.
Well, look at us. I like it. The Capitals versus Carolina. I have the Capitals winning.
I have the Capitals winning in 6.
Nice. I have it in 5. Islanders versus Penguins. I got Penguins.
I got Penguins in 5.
Perfect. So, second round, we both have Tampa Bay versus Toronto then.
We do. And
I have Toronto taking down the number 1 team in the NHL.
And the Maple Leafs are going to sweep them out. They're just going to...
You think the exact opposite.
You're going.
Okay, very nice. So I do think that Toronto's going to win. We both have Capitals versus Penguins as well.
Yes, sir. And I have the Penguins beating the Capitals in 7.
I have the Capitals winning. So there you go. So we disagree on both. So my Eastern Conference Championship is Toronto versus Washington, and yours is Tampa Bay versus the Penguins.
Yes, sir.
So I have Toronto versus the Dallas Stars, with the Dallas Stars hoisting the Stanley Cup.
Lord Stanley.
The road warrior.
We're not worthy.
Dallas Stars are going to win it all. Is what I have in my Stanley Cup prediction. And who is your Stanley Cup champ?
Mine is Winnipeg, the Jets.
Okay. My champ pick from last year. And they are playing against Tampa Bay?
Yes.
Okay, cool. It's weird to think that Tampa Bay has such a good hockey team. Right? Dallas too, really. We're not... You think of Canada and Minnesota.
The Minnesota, the original 6.
Yeah, places like that. So anywho, so that is the NHL breaking down. We will go and we will also adjust our brackets if we're wrong, which we might be.
We won't be. Somebody here is going to be right.
But we'll obviously, when the second rounds go, not that we'll adjust our brackets, we'll give our predictions for the series as they go and give updates on what's happening. By our next podcast, there should be 2 or 3 games. There should be 3 games in the books for every series, I believe. By the time we do our next podcast. If not, 3. A lot of the third games will be going on while we're doing the podcast next week. And the NBA should be at 2 games each as well by the time we do that.
Yeah.
So, on to Mock Draft 2.0. That is what we're going to cover last but not least. So, I got a lot of hate for a lot of my picks on my Mock Draft 1.0, but that's okay. Because I'm not Mel Kiper. ESPN doesn't pay me. It's okay.
We don't have 24 hours a day, 365.
I can take it. Do you see that he released 3 rounds today?
Yeah.
I did 20, and my head almost exploded.
Yeah, I mean, but that's all he does.
I know it's his job. He's paid to do it. Like, he had, but it's, man, because you talk about trades and team needs, and it's tough because there's so much talent. You start getting into picks 10, 11, 12, 15, and you see talent, right? But a team really doesn't need that player. But yet, you should be drafting the best player available sometimes, most of the time.
Every
time.
So
it's just, oh man, it's tough, but it's fun. So we'll start, and we'll see. Mine is kind of different, but kind of the same. I still have the Raiders moving up. I still think that Kyler Murray is the first pick in the draft to the Raiders. I think the Raiders are going to go get him. Is your number 1 pick still Kyler?
Mine is still Kyler to Arizona.
Is he still going to the Cardinals? To Arizona?
Yes,
okay.
He is.
Number 2. Are we both still at Bosa?
Yes.
Okay, we both have San Fran locked in with Bosa.
Absolutely.
Okay. Number 3. I got saucy again.
Oh, geez. What did you do?
So, it's different trade. So bear with me here. The Broncos. I have the Broncos trading with the Jets. So you don't know. Chris, for those of you listening, has no idea what I have here. What do you think I have the Broncos doing?
They got to be taking a quarterback.
Yes, I have them moving up to take a quarterback.
You haven't taken Drew Lock.
I do. I absolutely do. It's reported that the Broncos like him a lot. But more importantly, Haskins' stock is slipping.
Yes.
So I don't think the Giants are going to feel the need to really move up for Haskins. But with Locke, there is buzz. Okay, is what I'm hearing. I'm hearing that the Redskins are talking to him. I'm hearing that there's a few teams, right, that are scheduling visits or scheduled visits with him. So I think the Broncos sitting at number 10. I name me a draft. Hey Roxy, name me a draft that doesn't have 3 quarterbacks going in the top 10. Like, it's a thing, let alone the top 15. So I think that the Broncos are like, hey, he's our guy. We're locked into him. This is our dude. And I think they're going to move up with the Jets. So I have at number 3, the Broncos drafting Drew Lock.
And I got Josh Allen.
Going to the Jets?
Going to the Jets.
Okay. So same. So far the same.
Yeah, I do like that your move with Denver moving up. I think that's a smart move for them.
I agree, especially because the Lions pick before the Lions pick before the Broncos do, right?
Yes.
They can move back.
Detroit, yeah.
So
I mean, Detroit needs more picks.
You have the Redskins. You have the Dolphins. You have some quarterback needy teams, the Bengals, that all could possibly try to sneak up to get Locke if they like him. So the Broncos just sitting there waiting on him to happen. If
you're Cincinnati and you move up to 9 and Locke's on the board, what are you doing with your quarterback now? Andy Dalton, what are you doing with him?
Last year.
Do you try and trade him, or do you just flat out cut him?
I think you let him play.
I think you cut him.
I think you let him play.
I think you gotta cut him. I'm trading up to draft this kid, and in today's world, they don't need to wait like they used to. I think it's a plug and play thing.
Well, no, you're absolutely right. The deal is that you're not doing any favors by cutting him. Why not just have a better team? Like, look at it this way. So if you know that you're going to have the first pick in the draft, and you know that you want Kyler Murray, okay, and you happen to have Derek Carr on your team, right? And it's before free agency happens, and the Raiders have number 1 pick, and they've decided they're taking Kyler Murray number 1, right? This obviously isn't the case. They'd have to trade up to get in that situation. But it's Derek Carr's last year. You can save money against the cap. You can release him. Do it. But once the free agencies happen and the draft's going on, you gain nothing. What if you draft Kyler Murray, right, with the first pick because he's your guy, and he breaks his leg in the preseason, and you cut Derek Carr? You've totally just thrown a season away. And in the NFL, it's not the NBA where Team Tank gets you better chance at lottery balls. There's no guarantees with anything. So I think you keep. If you're the Bengals, I would not cut Dalton. I'm not saying that Dalton's my guy. I'm thinking the first time he has a 3-pick game, you're putting his butt on the bench and you're starting the rookie that you went up to go get. But I don't think you're cutting him for that reason. And maybe you trade him to a quarterback needy team that has an injury or has something of that nature if anybody is interested.
Look at it this way. If I'm Oakland and I trade up to get Kyler Murray, and I've got Derek Carr, and somebody calls and tells you, I'll give you a 2nd-round pick for Derek Carr right now.
Yes. Yeah, of course, because you're moving up to get the guy. You're getting draft capital right back. Absolutely, you do that deal.
Andy Dalton doesn't have that. Nobody wants Andy Dalton.
But you wouldn't cut him. There's no reason to do it.
I don't want him. I don't want him on the team anymore.
Well,
this is how I think. If I'm drafting your replacement, and I know in one more year you won't be there, I don't want you on my team. I don't want you poisoning anything. I want you out of my locker room. You move on with your life. This is your replacement.
But the NFL just doesn't work that way, unfortunately. Look like in my world, I have the Broncos, which you like, trading up to number 3 to get Drew Lock.
It's a good move.
It's a very good move. They just traded for Flacco.
They can't find a quarterback.
They just traded for Flacco. So you're basically doing the same thing to Flacco if they do this, right?
Agreed.
They're just going to cut him. Are they?
Let's look at Sam Bradford.
No way. No way.
Sam Bradford got signed by the Cardinals for $21 million last year. They drafted Rosen.
Well, his agent's a closer, clearly.
Well, clearly. That man's made a lot of money. But I'm just saying, it's the same scenarios that, yes, they didn't. The Cardinals had this quarterback. They paid him $21 million. Well, he was terrible. He got hurt.
But they cut him in season.
Yes.
They didn't do the draft.
Well, even if you cut him in season or not in season, you still have to pay that man money.
Their goal was Bradford to start and be their quarterback for the year, and he started 3 games, right?
Yeah.
Before they benched his butt because they just weren't good.
Well, he got hurt too.
So I mean, there's many factors that go in, but I am on team don't cut because there's so many. It doesn't matter who you are. The NFL is the most pure. I'm going to be the Super Bowl champ until week 1. Right?
Yep.
Every team has a chance to be the Super Bowl champ until week 1.
Now here's my thinking out loud. If I'm Oakland, I trade up and get Kyler Murray. The Redskins should call and go get Derek Carr.
Oh, absolutely. That's not going to happen though.
It's not going to happen, but it should.
Because they're the Redskins.
And then the Redskins, I know they just went and got Case Keenum, but Derek Carr's better than Case Keenum. And he's also
of course.
He's also a lot younger.
Oh, Case Keenum.
But if it doesn't work, you give up a second. You only gave up a second, and after 1 year, he's gone.
Case Keenum, jeez. So number 4, I have the Cardinals drafting because I have them still swapping with the Raiders. I have the Cardinals at number 4 taking Josh Allen. And number 4, what do you got?
I got them taking Quinnen Williams, defense tackle.
Okay, cool. I like it. That's both
Oakland couldn't get to the quarterback.
Best player on both of our boards.
Yeah,
honestly.
Oakland couldn't get to the quarterback.
Number 5 is. Did you have Tampa at number 5?
I do have Tampa.
I have Tampa as well. I did have Tampa on my original mock taking offensive line Jawan Taylor at this point, but I actually, because Williams is falling to them at number 5, I have them taking Quinnen Williams.
I had Tampa taking Jawan Williams, the tackle as well, but I have them taking Devin White, linebacker. This.
Oh, okay, but we got both of them going defense. I like it. So at number 6, because they don't have to move up now, and they do need a quarterback, I have Haskins going to the Giants at 6. Did you change this because of all this speak about him moving down?
I did. I've heard the rumors, and I've listened to the people. And who do you think I have the Giants taking at number 6?
Odell Beckham replacement?
No.
Who?
Defensive tackle, Ed Oliver.
Really?
I hear the Giants love this guy.
Okay.
Their defensive coordinator
plays. A lot of teams love him, for sure.
A lot of teams do love him, but most mocks have him going in the late teens or the early teens. So I think Ed Oliver. I think Cowboys' dreams is going to be smashed. I think Ed Oliver is going to go to the top 10.
Oh, I don't think the Cowboys have a chance of getting Ed Oliver. I think that I personally, spoiler alert, I think the Giants will go Haskins, and I think they're going to get a wide receiver with their next pick. I think they're going to get their future quarterback wide receiver combo, and we'll get to that as we go deeper into the mock 2.0.
I don't think they need another wide receiver. Sterling Shepard seems like a pretty good.
Oh, I think it lines up that way from what I did in my mock. I don't think they necessarily are trying to do that. I think it's just best player available, and it just kind of happens whenever I get to that point. So, number 7, do you have the Jags?
I do have the Jags.
I have the Jags taking Devin White at this point.
I have the Jags getting a tight end and T.J. Hawkinson.
Really?
I think they need more offensive weapons.
Okay.
And I believe that's how I had it in my last mock.
I had them going wide receiver in my last mock.
You had them taking Metcalf, didn't you?
Or I did. Metcalf. So, number 8's the Lions. You have the Lions staying at 8?
I have the Lions staying at 8, taking Montez Sweat.
Okay. I have the Lions taking T.J. Hawkinson. And you know what's funny is that we're actually having a discussion about this, about the Lions don't really use a tight end, and I was doing my mock, and I actually was going to have the Lions either go after Jawan Taylor since he's still on my board at this point, or go after Sweat because he's still on my board, right? And I decided to go the tight end, and I had an epiphany, and this is why I think the Lions are going to pick him. Remember when they tried to trade for Gronk last year?
They need a tight end.
They clearly wanted Gronk.
Yeah.
And it almost happened. So why not? So it's a need, obviously. It makes a lot of sense, so I like it. So obviously, what do you think if he was available? He's not available in your mock, but if TJ is there for the Lions at 8, do you think that they would take him?
I don't know. I think they lost too many players on the defensive line.
So you think that's where they go?
They have to. I mean, I almost had them taking Budda Baker, the corner out of LSU, but they lost 2 or 3 starters on the defensive line. They've got to start replacing some sack numbers. Ansah's not there this year. I mean, he's still a free agent. They could re-sign him. I think they should re-sign him.
Well, that's what I talked about last time too, man, is that I talked about when we did the 1.0 that in that division you have to be able to go after the quarterback. Because you have Aaron Rodgers, you have Trubisky, you have Kirk Cousins, who's the least mobile of the bunch, but he can kind of move around too.
I think when the Lions had Sue in that defensive front.
Oh, yeah.
They still couldn't beat the Packers.
No.
So.
Something to keep an eye on.
Yeah.
At number 9, we both have the Bills.
I do have Buffalo.
So I had Bills being crazy.
Yeah, you had taken Hollywood Brown last.
I've changed that tone. And not because I don't think they won't do it, because in my mock, best player available is Jawan Taylor on the O-line. And they clearly want to run the ball with Shady McCoy and Frank Gore.
Yes.
And they clearly have a quarterback who likes to run the ball with Josh Allen. So I have them going Jawan Taylor, going offensive line. What do you have?
I have them taking DK Metcalf, wide receiver.
Ooh, okay.
You talked me into it last week with Hollywood Brown and upgrading that wide receiver. I know they got John Brown and Cole Beasley, but DK Metcalf, he's probably not even the best wide receiver in the draft. I think his workout and everything has people just smooth. They want this guy because of all those numbers.
I think you're right, man. I have them because of the way my mock plays out, taking offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that if Jawan Taylor doesn't fall to them, I think that wide receiver would be their next step. I do. I really do. I believe in I can see when I do my mock 3 and present it, it's going to be the same as this right here. I'm not, unless an actual real NFL trade happens in the next week, I'm not changing 1 through 10. This is I feel strongly about this and the needs and the wants. So number 10, I have the Jets drafting here because they moved back with the Broncos. Who do you have the Broncos taking at number 10?
Drew Lock.
So we have the same quarterback going.
I think that's who. I really think that's who Denver wants.
I do. I think they're gonna have to move up though.
I don't.
And you know what's funny is maybe they don't, but maybe they have to because they don't know. If he's your guy.
That's the way it always is. If you do, because you can't control the inevitable.
Right. So if he's your guy, you have to go get him.
In this case, yes.
If you think this guy could be your quarterback for 10 years, you can't take him at number 10.
I mean, the only team that
can't wait.
Only team that I think would jump him would be Detroit, or not Detroit, but the Redskins.
You have Tampa could go quarterback, right? Jags could go quarterback. No, just because they have Foles doesn't mean they won't. Not saying they will.
They gave up too much money.
They're the most unlikely to do it, but yes. I've seen stranger things happen.
I mean, out of these teams that are here, I mean, yeah, Arizona needs a quarterback. The 49ers don't need a quarterback. The Jets don't need one. Oakland.
I would be terrified that the Bengals, Oakland, if they don't go Kyler Murray, there's so many factors of teams that could try to move up, especially with 2, 3. God, man, 2, 3, 5, 6, like Lions. I mean, all of them, man.
If you're Oakland and you can't get Kyler Murray, do you trade back? Acquire more picks? Take somebody else's first-round pick? And then have 4 first-round picks? Or...
No, I think that if they want Kyler and they can't make it happen and they just want to stay at 4, I really truly think that I think that the Raiders will be like, you know what, we got to play Mahomes twice. Let's get the best pass rusher available, and I think
I agree that's the smart move. But if you can get another pick and still stay in the top 10, because this draft is loaded with defensive talent.
Oh yeah,
I mean the defensive line talent in this draft is crazy.
I agree.
You could move back, say Denver calls you instead of the Jets, because the Jets don't need a quarterback.
Right.
So the Jets pick Josh Allen, and then Denver wants to go get Drew Lock.
I just like I think the Jets are the best trade partner right now because I like what their front office has done the last 2 years. I think they've drafted very well. I think they've signed very good free agent moves. I kind of like their jersey thing that they just did. It's kind of old school, kind of not. I like the direction. I'm one of the rare individuals that's a Sam Darnold guy. I like him.
I do like Sam Darnold. I think he's going to be good.
And I think that a smart thing would be if I'm the Jets, I start calling these teams like, hey.
Well, the Jets have already let it known that they're for sale. The pick's for sale.
Right. So have the Lions. And I think that's what's going to make the Broncos ultimately move up because of that reason. So at number 11, We both of the Bengals here.
Yep.
I have the Bengals taking Devin Bush.
I haven't taken Buda Baker.
Okay, so we both have them go with best player available on our boards?
Absolutely.
Okay. Packers at 12. I have the Packers taking our dude, Ed Oliver. I like Ed Oliver a lot, actually. I have Ed Oliver going 12. Who do you have?
I hate to see Ed Oliver go to Green Bay.
I
can't stand the Packers. Cannot stand them. There's so many people here that are Packers fans that have never even been to Green Bay.
So who do you have the Packers taking?
I haven't taken Brian Burns, the edge rusher out of Florida.
Okay. Number 13's Dolphins, moving right along. I have the Dolphins going wide receiver. I think that I don't know if I believe that DK is the best wide receiver in the draft class, but I do believe he'll be the first wide receiver drafted. So I have DK Metcalf going to the Dolphins at 13.
I've got Andre Dillard, the offensive tackle from Washington State.
And see, I almost did that, but I'm trying to think like the Dolphins GM. The Dolphins are clearly not in it to win it this year, right? I mean, if Ryan Fitzpatrick somehow gets you to 5-0, you just play and see what happens, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think that'll happen. I think they're going to be bad and be bad on purpose, and they're gunning for a quarterback next season, right?
Yeah, they're tanking for Tua Tagovailoa.
So why not go ahead and get a receiver that many view as the top at this point, and most receivers aren't studs immediately, right?
The reason why I'm not doing that if I'm Miami, there's too many good wide receivers in the draft. You can get a starting wide receiver in the second.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
Your offensive line needs help.
They do.
So why not upgrade your offensive line for this kid you're drafting next year?
Because you're the Dolphins.
It's new leadership for the Dolphins, so we're not sure exactly what they're going to do. They have a new GM and they have a new coach.
Okay.
So let's just think that they know what they're doing this year. Take the tackle. Shore up your offensive line. Help this kid out that you're going to get next year.
All right. Falcons at 14. Are we both there?
We are there.
I have the Falcons taking Christian Wilkins.
As do I.
Boom. All right. We agree on something. Skins at number 15. Who do you got the Skins taking?
Juwan Taylor, offensive tackle, Florida.
Awesome. I have the Skins taking Will Grier.
You have Will Grier going into the first?
I do.
Will Grier is a third-round quarterback.
I think that he is going to be a first-round quarterback, actually.
Boy, you're wow. You got me. You almost have me speechless.
Yeah.
Wow. Will Grier, great story, great kid, had an amazing college career.
Here's my Will Grier thing. I think he's good. I think he can be good. I think that he's a second-round quarterback, legitimately, from his pedigree and from what I see and hear and look and everything else, right? So the problem is that you have quarterback. You have in front of the Redskins. You have, is it 6 quarterback needy teams?
Yes.
Okay. So you have 6 quarterback needy teams that are going to draft twice. Some of them, like AKA the Raiders, have even more opportunities to go after a quarterback, right? So you get the guy. If it's your guy, they like him. They had another meeting with him. So my logic is, if the Redskins are about this dude, they're about him. If there's smoke to this Josh Rosen thing, and remember, in my universe that I've done this mock draft, the Raiders are going after Murray. Rosen is still going to be on the Cardinals. So the Redskins are looking at this whole dynamic of everything and saying, okay, this is our dude. This is who we want. So this is who we're going to go behind. We've got our starter for next season. Right?
I mean, that's true.
We're going to start the year with Case Keenum. And if Keenum rights the ship, boom, we develop. We get him ready for year 2 because Keenum's on a 1-year deal. Or if Keenum's not ready,
I thought Keenum was on a 2-year deal. I thought he signed a 3-year deal when he went to Denver.
It's 2 year, but 2 years is one in the NFL, dude.
It's true.
You know, they can move on in the offseason, all of that. So that's my logic behind it. Now, is this the way that it can go? I mean, there's a lot of intangibles with my mock in my universe that I've got going on right now, right? Yeah. It's like I've created my own roster in Madden.
You have.
Because so many different things have to happen to make this happen. It's not. Mine's moving very organically because of 2 trades that I have going. So it's created a whole different butterfly effect of things.
There'll be somewhere between 3 to 5 trades in the first round.
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree with that. And I think I originally had the Redskins trying to move up. And that's a very realistic thing as well. But yeah. I think they like Will, and I do think they could stay at 15, obviously, and get him. So I like it. And I saw some things today. Some people have Haskins falling all the way to hit them, which is wild to think. I don't think that's going to be a thing at all. But some people have that going on. So on to the Panthers. You have the Panthers at 16?
I do have the Panthers at 16.
I have the Panthers taking Jonah Williams.
Jonah Williams. I don't know much about Jonah Williams.
Offensive line.
Alabama.
Mm-hmm. Given some more support to Cam, if Cam's able to play
I don't think Cam's going to play this year.
And Christian McCaffrey. And who do you have the Panthers taking?
I have them taking Klein Farrell, the edge rusher from Clemson.
Oh, okay. Very nice. I have the Giants up next at number 17. You still have the Giants at 17?
I do.
I have the Giants taking A.J. Brown.
I have Dwayne Haskins falling to the Giants at 17 overall.
Oh. See, that's dangerous.
That
would be crazy. If they're able to not move up, stay at 6, and stay at 17 and still get a quarterback they like, that would be wild. I don't think it's physically possible.
I don't think it
but like I said, and that's only because if I don't know what I'm not a Redskin. I'm not in the Redskins room, and I don't know what. Now, if the Redskins have a draft board, would it be Haskins and Greer? Probably, right? Yeah. Maybe it's Murray, Haskins, Greer. If I'm the Redskins, if I have a draft board.
Well, Locke.
Is Locke? Have they even talked to Locke? Is that a guy they like?
I don't know if they've talked to him or not, but I mean, just those are the top 3 of those guys are for sure. I don't know if Will Greer's even considered the 4th best quarterback.
Depends on who you're talking to, I guess. That would be crazy. Like I told you, I have them hooking up Haskins and A.J. Brown together. So I like it. At 18, I've got the Vikings. Who do you have at 18? Vikings as well?
I do have the Vikings.
I have them taking... They need O-line, and they need O-line bad.
Yeah.
I have them taking Chris Lindstrom.
Chris Lindstrom. I have them taking Greedy Williams.
Okay. What position is he?
Quarterback.
Okay. I have them going O-line, man. Kirk Cousins was on his butt so much, man. And until Dalvin Cook finally got healthy, they weren't able to run that much. I mean, it was remember that year? Remember the game versus Buffalo?
That was a horrible game.
God. Whew. And then number 19, both have Titans.
Do.
I have the Titans drafting Rashawn Gary.
I have them taking Hollywood Brown.
Oh, okay. So now Hollywood's in your top 20 and not in my top 20.
Yeah.
All right. I still like Hollywood, and I do think he's going to be going in the first round. I think there's going to be 3 receivers going in the first round. Steelers are number 20. Who do you have?
I have the Steelers taking Devin Bush, the linebacker out of Michigan.
Very nice. I have the Steelers taking Clinton Farrell, actually, the defensive lineman there, or the defensive end, excuse me. So, that is Mock Draft 2.0. We shall have a 3.0, and we shall have a 4.0, because we do our podcast the day before the draft, so we'll have our last shake-up of all of this.
Are we gonna do a full first round next week?
We'll do a full first for the one before.
Okay.
We'll do another 20 next week. I like it. Shake it up. There'll be a lot more buzz and things going on, and I feel really good. I imagine you do too, but I feel really good about kind of what I've got. Once again, mine's got trades in it, so I'm in a fake universe right now. So the things I talk about aren't reality because it's this fake universe I've created because I think that trades that haven't happened will. But within the next week, we can start to see some movement.
I hope so. I mean, it's kind of been drawn out. The whole Kyler Murray, is he going to be a Cardinal? Are the Cardinals going to trade the pick? That has been great entertainment for football fans. It's one of the best ruses any team's ran in forever. But now it's kind of like it's been going on for a month and a half, 2 months now.
Next week, whenever we start to prepare for our podcast, Monday-ish, right?
Yeah.
To do it on Wednesday, is when we're going to see almost a week till D-Day. So it's going to be smoke. It's going to be all kinds of stuff going on. So it's going to be cool. I'm intrigued to see how much things change, especially with the ladder. Because with me, as you could tell, I went best player available a lot and a little bit of need too in my 10 through 20. But I have a lot of movement and trades and things going on with my top 10. So I'm probably going to just let the world burn 10 through 20 when I really start to kind of delve into more of what we start hearing.
Yeah.
Because when things start shifting, if we're doing our podcast next week, and there's no word on, and the word is that Kyler Murray is going to the Cardinals. Well, guess what? My universe just changed. I'm obviously not going to have him going to the Raiders. So my whole timeline of events, the butterfly effect shifts.
You were going to need Batman to save your ass.
Right, for real. So I'm intrigued by it. I dig it, man. I like your mock. I like mine. We both have different ideas of what's going to happen. Obviously, I am thinking, I just 3 quarterbacks in the top 10 is a thing. It's always a thing, and
except for when it's not.
And this could be it. I mean, people aren't huge on the quarterbacks, but are they?
They weren't.
But
huge,
are they?
They weren't huge on the quarterbacks last year either.
Right, and
but
then
Rosen went 10.
You never know, man.
And Arizona traded up to get him.
And then Josh Allen, and then Baker Mayfield, and then Sam Darnold. The draft's a good time.
It is. I love it.
So wrapping up, that is our mock draft 2.0. 3.0 we brought to you next week, as well as an NBA breakdown and an update on NHL, and we'll talk a little MLB. Not enough has really gone crazy in the MLB this week for us to talk about.
Other than my 2 World Series picks are going up in flames.
Yes, and Seattle and is the best team in baseball apparently.
At 9-3.
Did you see the stat on Twitter today? By the way, they are the first team. Hold on, let me find this because this is awesome. Forgive me for not having this ready because I just literally thought about it out of the top of my head. So there's 2 MLB teams since 1908 that have scored 6 or more runs in 11 of their first 13 games. The 1932 Yankees and the 2019 Mariners.
Aren't the 1332 Yankees considered the greatest team of all time? Is that Murderers Row?
Probably.
Or is that the 1920 Yankees?
Let's just go with both. So it's crazy to me to think how good they're doing. Now it's baseball. There's so many more games left, but man,
yeah, they're like 6% done with the season.
They're a weird Ranger handshake away from being the best team in the MLB.
Yeah, the Rangers have gone down in flames in the last week.
They're still okay. 1 game under 500. It's still better than the experts thought at this moment.
Yeah,
it's getting closer to what the experts thought.
They thought we'd be 1-6 after the first, or they thought we'd be 1-5 after the first 2 series.
Did you watch WrestleMania this week?
I did not. I didn't feel like spending the money on it.
Oh man, I watched it, and it was pretty good. Do you know anything? Do you follow it at all?
I didn't follow it. I don't know anything other than Rousey lost.
Well, for the record, by the way, I used to be big time in wrestling in the 90s and then got back into it. Like every few years I seem to get back into it. But one thing I've always done is watch WrestleMania, regardless of, like, you watched it, what, last year or 2 years ago? It was probably last year.
Yeah, it was the year before.
So I decided to watch it because it's WrestleMania, man. It's something to watch. And pretty crazy. So some notable things to discuss with you real quick. First off, it looks like Brock's done again. He's going back to UFC again. He was actually that was the first match was his belt. And Seth Rollins beat him. Like literally, the WrestleMania started and that was the first thing that happened. And Seth Rollins got his butt just destroyed and then did one of the miracle finishes that come back, right? Triple H fought for his life. It was if he lost his match, he wasn't able to go back into
the
ring, and he fought Batista. And it was a straight up street fight. They whooped each other's butts. It was fun. It was a good one. You have your first. Now, there's been a black champion before, right? But it was with the other belt. So the championship that's on SmackDown is deemed the quintessential best belt, right, in wrestling. And Kofi, who's been in the league for 11 years, beat Daniel Bryan, who's my dude. I'm all about some Daniel Bryan, but beat him. So he's the first black athlete to have that belt. So that's pretty cool, man. Obviously, I'm not black, so I don't know what that feels like. But it's I see on Twitter, and I've seen just the cultural talk about how awesome of a thing it is and how much hope it gives. Just everyone, so good for them. And then for the first time ever, women headlined WrestleMania. I mean, it was an awesome match. Now, I don't watch Raw every week. I don't watch SmackDown. I don't know about the story. I saw the card, saw who was fighting. I watched it, and I was like, okay, cool. This seems awesome. And I wasn't let down. I read online, though, a lot of people were. But
because they thought they wanted Rousey to win.
She broke her hand during the middle of the match, apparently, taking a kick. And it was fun. They had some good moves, man. Lots of grapples and stuff. The flow of the evening was good. It was a 5-hour event, it seemed like. It was over at like 11:40.
Yeah.
But I wasn't bored. I had a good time with it. So bravo, WWE. The one event I watch a year I enjoyed. And,
also, no, Rousey retired too.
She retired?
She did.
Wow.
Rousey, that was the end of Rousey's contract. She did it on an Instagram post. She's not in WrestleMania either. Or in wrestling anymore either.
I bet you she comes back.
I don't think she does. I think she's tired of it.
She'll come back as Conor McGregor. That's another story for another time.
Yeah.
So that is Chew on Sports for this week. Thank you for listening. As always, we'll bring more quality stuff your way. Upcoming on the next few episodes, lots of playoff talk, lots of draft talk, and fantasy football talk is coming up. Once the draft happens, we're going to start talking about it. The first thing we will be bringing up in May, the first week of May, for those of you who are marking your calendars, we will be ranking our top quarterbacks for the fantasy season and who we think you need to go for. So it's never too early to start planning to win your fantasy leagues. The people that start in May are the ones that are still alive week 14, 15, and 16.
And they're hoisting the trophy and collecting the cash.
That is right. So thank you for tuning in. As always, this is Chew on Sports. Peace.
Peace.